Welcome to the sew along for the Margo Bralette, an intermediate project from Madeline's newest book, Sew Lingerie. Intermediate, you could consider beginner. I believe that when there's a will, there's a way, and even if you have limited bra making experience, I definitely think that you can tackle the Margo Bralette, especially after watching this sew along. Side note, I promise I won't cry. My mom passed away when I was a teenager and her name was Margo, so this bralette was named after her. It was a small way that she could be a part of the book. First, let's go over pattern pieces and make sure that you have the correct fabrics cut out for each pattern piece. So the first one is center front bralette A and side front bralette B. For both of them, you have your main fabric and your lining fabric. Your lining fabric could be a stretch mesh, which I suggest for smaller sizes, such as extra small, small, medium, and then power net for sizes large through 5X. Now, I do want to call out that the Margo Bralette does run small, so if you're in between sizes, I definitely suggest sizing up. Then you have your back band, which is pattern piece number D, which is also lined with mesh. So you have your main fabric and your lining fabric for your back bands. Those are the pieces that need lining. So for pattern piece number A, B, and D, it is main fabric and lining fabric. For pattern pieces number C and what is this? E, which is bralette cup lace edging. That is a mouthful. And lower lace edging. Also a mouthful. You do not need a lining. So those are just main fabric, which is this really cute scalloped galloon lace. Also want to call out that it is stretched fabrics throughout. If you're using a non-stretch fabric for your Margo Bralette, which you can use it for you can use the non-stretch for the center front bralette and side front bralette and the bralette cup lace edging, but you want to use a stretchy fabric for the back band and for the lower lace edging. I'm gonna have to look at that pattern piece every time I say that because it's a mouthful. So a common question that I get is that if a pattern is drafted for a stretch fabric and you have a non-stretch fabric, can you still use it? 110%, but you might have to make some adjustments to the sizing. So I want to call that out because I didn't want anyone to think that if they had a non-stretch fabric that they couldn't use it. Next, let's go over elastics. The first elastic that you want to have is picot elastic. All picot means is that there is a picot edge on one side. I recommend sizes 3/8 of an inch for extra small through medium and 1/2 of an inch for sizes large through 5X. You can use them interchangeably, not a big deal. The next elastic is band elastic. And I want to call out for band elastic that it can be many things. So I have two elastics here. One is I have a band elastic that is 1 5/8 of an inch wide. It is not the elastic that the Margo Bralette suggests in the book. I also have a fold-over elastic that is 3/4 of an inch wide when folded. So it's wider when it's open. Both of these can be used as the band elastic. What is important about the band elastic is that if you're using a front closure, that your front closure is the same width as the band elastic, because that is going to have to go through it one of the last steps. So my point being is that you can use many things for the bottom band. You can use a bottom band that's 1/2 an inch wide. You can use a bottom band that is 1 inch wide, 1 5/8 inch wide. What is most important is that your front closure, if you're using one, is going to match the width of the elastic. For the fold-over elastic, a little trick is that we encase rubber elastic inside of it. So as we're sewing it, we'll put this inside and do a zigzag stitch. And that just gives it a little bit more stability, makes it a little stronger, put that way. So if you want like a tighter hug or you just need more support, that is a great option to add a little bit of oomph to your fold-over elastic. Next is strap elastic. I recommend using a 3/4 inch strap elastic or wider if you have it for larger sizes, and which is this size, the 3/4, and a smaller size such as like a 1/2 inch or 3/8 inch for smaller sizes such as extra small through medium. What is most important, just like the front closure, is that your rings and sliders match the width of your strap elastic. Now let's move on to sewing. The first step is to sew the bralette cups together along the vertical seam. So with the right sides facing, you are going to pin along that seam, the vertical seam, and sew it with a straight stitch, 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitch at the beginning and the ends. I know this question's gonna come up, someone's gonna put in the comments, can you clean finish this the same way that you did with the Brooklyn bralette? Yes, you can. I wouldn't suggest spray basting these together because then you'll be dealing with glue and it will definitely stick to your sewing machine. So, but if you do want a clean finish, this seam, just for a nicer appearance on the inside, I would not spray base the main fabric and the lining fabric together and then use those steps to clean finish the seam. Your girl loves a nice clean finish on the inside, so I am all for that. Center front bralette cup is sewn to side front bralette cup. I used a straight stitch. You can't really see it, but I did serge that edge with a white thread. Next up is to attach the lace edging to the bralette cups. So, key thing here is that the narrower side goes on the center front, the wider side goes on the underarm. You are gonna pin it right sides together. And then sew it with a zigzag stitch. Now, why sew it with a zigzag stitch when we just sewed this vertical seam with a straight stitch? Generally speaking, keyword, generally speaking, there are always exceptions. You use a zigzag stitch on horizontal seams and a vertical stitch on horizontal, or oh my goodness. You use a zigzag stitch on horizontal seams and a straight stitch on vertical seams. Okay, filming this on a Friday afternoon, you can obviously see what kind of week it was, or kind of tell what week it was. Anyways, why use a zigzag stitch? So, generally speaking, since this edge is kind of horizontal, I mean, it's like diagonal, but there is a lot of stretching going on here versus straight up and down. You want this to stretch a little bit, which is why we're using a zigzag stitch. Also at this point, at the center front, it should not, like there should be a little bit, because this is at one angle, the bottom cup is at another angle, so it shouldn't be perfectly aligned. One should be going this way. It's called dog ears. They look like little dog ears that are hanging over. That is okay. Lace edging is sewn to bralette cups. Don't worry about finishing the seam allowances. We will finish it with picot elastic in the next step, which is in the next video. Any questions, please pop them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe,